Alright, I think I'm up and running right now. I just have to make sure. And give me 1 second here. Okay, so looks like I'm up and running. Let me make sure. Okay, so I'm up and running now, and let me just switch it over so you can see me on the screen. There I am. Okay. Now, just turn off the volume so I don't get feedback. Okay, so I'm going to be going through some of your questions, and right now I'm just looking to see what we're going to be doing for today. Mostly I'm just kind of freewheeling it. I don't necessarily have a plan other than just to go and look at some of your comments, read some of your questions, and then just kind of go from there. So just make sure everything's up and running here. Okay, and okay, actually, this is an interesting one. So, anyway, today I posted a new video for the rocking horse, and this is by Ricochet Obscurity. Right. I thought this was a video about rockers, but it was a rocking horse. However, this video will give me a better insight when it comes to skating, and therefore still extremely helpful. Once I start skating again, I'll definitely put this into practice. Let's see. So I'm replying right now via, because Ricochet Obscurity is not in the text, so I'm sending a message saying, "Hi Ricochet, I do have rocker videos. Check out the turns playlist." Alright. Okay, and then I'm just going to continue reading. Okay, so Mary H. wrote, "I love all your videos, Oleg. Wish you were in the UK and could be my coach. This video is great as I'm a beginner and definitely want to get strong foundations. So skating basics videos are great for me. Thank you so much again and looking forward to seeing the following videos." Now, something I wanted to point out real quick. Let me just make sure everything's running properly here. Okay, yeah. The thing is, I have this idea where there's a lot of people out there that I want to reach out to, but obviously I can't be everywhere in the world as much as I'd like to. So I have this idea of where if you are working on something and you're just not sure where you're at, you had a question, like Mary here, I suggested feel free to send me a video. And what you can do is you could email me, or find me on my Facebook. My contacts are all in. Let me just show you real quick where you can contact me. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to switch this out. Okay, so we're going to look at how you can reach me. So there's a couple of ways. You can go on Ice Dancer Oleg, my website. Go down to contact. Hit contact at icedanceroleg.com. Okay? So this is my email. Just copy it, paste it into your address, and you're good to go. All right, now the other way, we go on YouTube, and this is me live right now, so we don't want to do that. Let's look at okay. Other ways you can get a hold of me. Go to the About section. And over here you have my links, my Facebook, I stand for Oleg. This right here is my website, my GoFundMe, my Patreon, and my email address. So again, same thing. Just hit it, submit it, and you're good to go. It's the same email address, by the way. So they all bounce back to me into my Gmail email address. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Switch this back to me, and I'm gonna look through here and see where we're at. Okay. Peshalat Prefiliv. Pesha Prefiliv wrote, without mustache, it's better for you. Yes, as you may have noticed, I have shaved my face. So I am going for more of the Hobbs and Shaw look, the new Fast and Furious movie. For a while, when I knew I was balding, I was like thinking, okay, so I didn't want to have big poofy sides. It's just not me. I don't want to have the bald look except for the cue ball look because it's just sleek and it's polished, if you will. Anyway, so I looked at different bald men, and I like The Rock's look and Jason Statham look. So that's kind of where I'm going with right now. Ditch the beard, just want a 5 o'clock shadow. Anyway, moving on. And by the way, thank you all for your comments. I always appreciate your honest opinions, how you feel about me, what you think of my opinions. I always welcome them, so thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna get a bunch of thank yous, and I reply and say you're welcome. Let's see here. I want to see if there's any specific questions we want to get to. Okay, and Gunther wrote, simply great exercise. This was in 121, backward, outside edges, and circles. What would you recommend for getting used to new skates? I switched down from Jackson Freestyle with Ultimate Blades to Rice Sport RF3 with Samba Dance Blade, and tomorrow's the first day on ice. I want to practice basic edges first and then. Okay, so in this case, I actually answered this question on Monday, so I'm going to recommend that you would want to look at the playlists. Currently, I have the videos up, and I might leave them up a little bit longer. It depends upon how many questions are answered because the channel is still growing. So there's going to be still some time to where, I might make more videos and people have a chance to see. And I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to see them. So right now, and in case you're watching this, I'm going to recommend that I'm trying to find the episode to tell you which one you want to look at. Okay. So right now I have it on... Okay. Lizzie asked the same question, and this was on I Stand Strolling Live, episode 20. So on Monday's stream, I broke it down into every single question separately. That way you can go specifically to the question you want. In this case, it was 20 for Lizzie, and check it out. If by the time you get to this, it's down, you could find it on my Patreon. So you could definitely see that. Okay, and then moving on. Alright, we have... Okay, and we have some questions. Here we go. Alright, there's a couple of them in here that I should address. Okay, Kelly Dynkin wrote, hi Oleg, can you do a video on consecutive swing rolls on lobes? I'm really looking for more help on the finer details and want to see and hear your breakdown. Body and edge control. Love all your videos. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Yes, actually that's going to be on my to-do list. So right now what I'm going to try to record this week, and I'm going to try to get a 2 foot to 1 foot spin, like a really basic 2 foot spin to a really basic 1 foot spin, something we talked about in the last videos. How to do check three turns, and check three turns are a way to prepare for doing multiple twizzle rotations. You got to be able to do the check three turns, and then it's just the same thing, but you don't check the three turns. It's an exercise you do, and it will help with twizzles. And now I'm going to add the swing rolls. So I'm just going to add it to my list here. Okay. And by the way, I still plan to do moves in the field. I'm still trying to get established which rinks I'm going to be coaching at, where I'm going to be training at. Currently, I'm at the Reisterstown Sportsplex mostly, and that's in Maryland. It's about a 2-hour commute one way, and so it's about a 4-hour trip. And then I go down there. There's a number of students I used to work with in the past, and I just go down there, work with them, come back. There are closer rinks, so I'm trying to figure out where I plan to get established at. But I do intend to maintain my connection to Reisterstown. And because there's a lot of great coaches in my area where I live nearby, because there's a very strong skate school, but not so much down there. So I'm happy to go down there and continue working with the students and helping develop that skating program. Now, the other thing I should mention, if you are interested in setting up a private lesson with me and you're anywhere for, say, DC, let's see, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York, this general area, you can hit me up. We could probably figure something out. Maybe a halfway point or something. Or I might be able to line up several lessons in one area and then come out on a day or something like that. Because that's how I got into coaching in Maryland initially. A friend years ago asked me to come over and work with some of her students. Anyway, those kind of things could all be arranged. All right, let's continue with the questions. Okay, by the way, if anyone has any questions, feel free to hit me up in the stream as well. And while I address the other comment section. Okay, and Lily wrote, this was 6 days ago. I haven't tried backward outside edges. Do I need to raise my free leg higher so I don't fall backwards? All right, well, let's actually look at that. Okay, I'm just setting up the video real quick here. Alright, now let me read the question one more time. Lily wrote, this video was very helpful. I'm trying to make 1-foot glides, both forward and backward, better by shifting my weight on the skating leg. Do I need to slightly bend my knee? Also, trying to do 1-foot glides on a circle. You are right when you mentioned about off-ice training. I strength train at the gym at least twice a week. It really does make my body stronger and prepared for falls on the ice. Thank you, Oleg. Looking forward to practice again soon. Please continue sharing skating tips. Okay, so when you're skating on a circle, we're going to look at that. So these are two different questions on episode 119 and 118. So now in this case, first question I'm going to answer is, I haven't tried backward outside edges. Do I need to raise my free leg higher so I don't fall backwards? If you haven't tried backward outside edges, I wouldn't try them until you're comfortable doing straight backward 1-foot glides. And then what you want to do is, you don't want to be doing like episode 118. That's a pretty advanced exercise, and you're going to do a lot of falling if you just go straight into it. Instead, we're going to look at a basic backward exercise that we can do. Let's take a look real quick here. I'm going to set it up. All right, and let me switch this over. Okay, we're on my website, icedanceroleg.com, and then we're going to go down to videos. By the way, you'll be happy to hear I have been loading the videos, and though you can't see them all, they're up on the site. I just haven't finished doing all the web pages for it, but soon you're going to be able to see all the updated videos, and you're going to be able to just come out here, watch them commercial free, and then that way it's for a quick and easy access. Anyway, we're down here. Now we wanted to do, let's look at edges. We're going to go playlists. And then, let's see here. Edges. Here we go. Episode 31 is the one. Well, actually, okay. Why don't we actually go to episode 3 instead and take a look at that, and then we could also look at episode 31. Both of these would help. And to answer this question, I'm just going to read it one more time. Actually, I remember the question. So basically, Aleli asked, what about doing backward outside edges, basically. So this is how you want to approach that. Let's look at episode 3. The Moves in the Field system by US Figure Skating is actually very effective at developing skating skills. So if you're ever in doubt, practice the moves. Okay, so here I'm doing the forward insides. We're just going to skip this. This is the backward outsides. Okay, so let's look at how we are going to set this up first. I'm just going to make sure that you're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing, because I wouldn't want to be just talking and not... Okay, yes, you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Okay, good. So now, you want to pigeon toe your toes like this. Hang on. Okay. You want to pigeon toe your toes, and what you're going to do is you're going to push back, and you're going to glide on the outside edge. Now, in order to push back like this, you can do like a half swizzle pump, like a backward half swizzle pump. Think about a swizzle, but instead of a full swizzle, do a half swizzle. And you practice those on a circle. If you don't know what a backward half swizzle pump is, you shouldn't be doing backward outside edges. I mean, if you haven't practiced those, then it's just, this is too advanced stuff right now. So don't rush into things. I just want to point this out. When you practice exercises, they have to be doable. You have to be able to do these things, and don't do anything crazy. If you're doing something that's just too much, you're not going to do anything effective. They should be challenging but doable, because otherwise you're just wasting your time. Okay, now moving on. We have our body to the circle we're on. There are other ways of doing it. You could also have your body and hips square and then just hold it around. In this case, I have a body to the circle I'm on. Toes pigeon toes. We're going to bend our knees, bend our ankles. Press. Now, you want to have your body weight in here, pushing from the heel, rolling to the ball of the foot, like this. In this case, I'm keeping my body to the circle I'm on. You don't have to do that. You could go this way alternatively, and hips and shoulder square. What you don't want to do is unravel this shoulder too quickly. You don't want to swing this around. Sometimes when skaters work on backward outside edges, they think that they have to pull the shoulder around to get around, and you actually don't. If you just push properly and you just stay on your edge and maintain it, it'll naturally curve around. But if you try to open up, you're actually going to twist yourself right off your edge. You don't want to do that. All right, so now we're going to push and go. Now, in this case, again, you could have different knee and ankle action. You could have different free leg, different upper body. In this specific case, what we're doing is body's on the circle, and the leg is following the same tracing as the skating foot. You can't really see it from this angle, but trust me, if you were standing right in front of me right here, you would see that these are on the same circle, like this. If I was to draw the circle, it would be something like that. Okay. And then going on, bring it in, switching. I scissored my hands. Now, I opened up my shoulder now, but it wasn't too soon. I did it at the halfway point. If I tried to do it too early, I would have curved in on it, and it wouldn't have gotten me anywhere. You bring it in, press, bend. By the way, this is for Lely. This is how you want to start practicing your backward outside edges. If you can do a solid backward 1-foot glide on either foot, if you can just glide in a line, then this is an exercise that you can probably start working toward. But if you can't comfortably glide indefinitely on a straight line backwards, practice that first. All right, so then we're going to press, push back, we're going to rotate, open up. Again, press, push, rotate, bend, push, rotate. Okay, good. This is how you finish. You bring your, now there's any number of ways you can finish. For instance, you can cross the foot in front and step in this way. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm bringing my feet together like a T, pushing out, and then stopping in a T. Okay, now something I want to point out, if you are practicing moves in the field, you have to think about 4, 5, or 6 lobes. No more, no less. You don't want to do 3 lobes, and you don't want to do 7 lobes. And this is, you do this using the blue, red, or the other blue line. I mean, in principle, you can draw your own line. But if you're doing it down the short axis of the rink, and you're thinking of proper moves in the field, 4, 5, or 6 lobes. Okay? Let's move on. Now, I wanted to show you episode 31. By the way, I'm going to be making a lot more edges videos for you. I think something like 75 to 90% of my YouTube audience is looking to work on getting their edges a lot stronger. So you can look forward to seeing a lot more edges exercises in the near future. And when I say edges, I don't mean just the difficult stuff. Like the past couple of episodes, except for the recent one that I put out today, those were pretty advanced edges for the most part, except for the 1-foot glide. But I will give you easier exercises as well, because I'm trying to make sure that I cover everyone. I want to make sure everyone has something to watch, something to learn. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this right here, you can do this with a puck. You don't have to do this with a puck. That's a great exercise for kids. Kids often have no fear, but they have less control over their upper body than adults. And one thing that works wonders is you put a puck on your head, and then you do this control exercise right here, and you will be amazed how much control a person can develop, just the sheer awareness of it. Sometimes being forced to hold something or balance something can really improve one's awareness. But that's for people that have a good amount of speed, but very little control. In general, as you get better, you want to emphasize more and more and more speed and power and flow, speed and power and flow. You want to keep increasing your control, but at the same time, it's all about the power, the speed, and the flow. You need those, because that's what's going to separate you. That's how you're going to stand out from the pack. Alright, so now this is a great exercise. I've done the same thing in yesterday's episodes when I showed you how to do that off ice, and I showed you on ice. Now we're doing it on the ice. Now in this case, I'm just going to pause this. You don't have to do the fancy leg thing that I was doing here with the leg passes on the circle. That's quite advanced. If you're just learning your backward 1-foot glides on an outside edge, hold this position, just right here. Do a half swivel pump, and then afterwards, you're just going to balance yourself out, square off your shoulders and hips. You want to try to trace a circle. You want to see it with your peripheral vision, so you're looking this way, but your awareness is out here like that. And also make sure that you're aware of who's behind you. This is a very easy way to plow into something or someone, and you don't want that because you're going to get hurt, they're going to get hurt. You don't want that. So always be aware of your surroundings. So let's watch. If you just hold this position, it's great. Count to 5, trace it, switch your feet, do the other foot. Now in this case, I'm doing it with the leg. This is slightly more advanced. Let's watch. Pass, pass, together. Now, when you bring your feet together, you rebend, press, then I pump. That's the half swivel pump I was talking about. Now watch it again. Together, half swivel pump. Again. Together, half swivel pump. One more time. Together, half swivel pump. You pump from your heel. You can do any number of those in a row to get speed. Now this is, I'm doing the passes again here. We're going to pass the leg back and forth. Now, when I pass it through, let me just show you here. From this angle, you can kind of see it. This leg is still straight. All right? This knee is straightening up. That's still straight now. There, as I come in, it's still straight. This leg is still straight. But it's higher than the other one because I'm lifting my hip. That's the key to it. You got to hike up that hip a little bit, and you can clear the ice with a straight leg by about an inch. All right, so let me continue. Pass, pass, pump. And then do the other side. You want to keep your shoulders and hips more or less square, and then you want to maintain control. And I hope that answered some questions. Practice both directions, of course. So we're just going to watch this for a little bit. All right, and then these episodes, what I'm going to do is, after I'm done with you guys today, tomorrow morning I'm going to separate the episodes, and then you're going to be able to see them individually. So if you're tuning in now and you don't have time to watch the rest of it, you'll be able to catch it tomorrow. And that's kind of my plan. What I do is I do a video, and then afterwards I separate them into easily digestible chunks for you guys. All right, now let's put me back here for a second. Let me see where we're at. Okay, so I got some more audience here. Hello, hey, it's been a while. Hi, all right. Okay. All right, now let's see here. I'm just gonna see how. All right, we've got some more questions. Now, before we go into it real quick, I just want to show you guys something. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So, real quick, now, if you want to support my efforts, you can do so via Patreon or GoFundMe. Also, while you're in the stream, you can do this right here. This is a new button. It's called Super Likes or something like that. It's a new feature that YouTube has enabled for me and the streams. I mean, I'm still new to it. But basically, if you want to give me a big shout out and toss in a few bucks, you can do it that way. Anyway, but no pressure. Other ways that you can help me out that don't involve money is liking the videos and sharing them with your friends. Just getting the word out helps the channel grow, and you guys are always a big help. All right, now let's get back to your questions here. Okay, now Folliculo, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, writes, my coach and peers do not have any experience teaching or skating with a much heavier center of gravity. Are there any standard tips for better chance of direction on one blade and balance? Okay, so let me think about it. Let me think this question, or I'm gonna request in the chat just so clarification. I'm just gonna greet everyone in the chat real quick. Okay, so by the way, you're welcome, Cynthia. Anyway, so I need a clarification from Felico. I'm just gonna yes. Okay, so until I get the exact definition, when you're talking about teaching or skating with a much higher, heavier center of gravity, or it could also be, where is anyway, until I get a clarification, I can't exactly answer that, and I don't want to speculate. Anyway, I will come back around to that question. Let me just see where else is going on. Okay, we're gonna go back, and here we go. I'm just gonna switch out. I'm gonna read a few more questions. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah. Well, let's say yeah. Felico, yeah, as soon as you give me clarification, I'll come back around to your question. Meanwhile, I'm just going to continue reading some of the other questions I had here. Let's see here. Okay, so that was answer that. Okay, in terms of gliding on one foot, should you bend more on my gliding foot when doing this? Episode 119. Let's take a look. Alright, let me just switch this out here. Okay, here we go. This is a 2 foot to 1 foot glide. Okay, you gotta shift over. You want to create the split with your body right here. So think like a T, and you want the center beam of your T, if you will, to be evenly distributed with your body. If you got too much body mass on either side of the T, you're not going to be able to do this effectively. Continuing on, we lift. The question is, does the knee have to be bent? Well, no. I mean, you can keep it straight or bent. To be honest, most skaters learning the 1 foot glide will naturally have their knee bent. It's not required. It's going to happen naturally. And at this point, I wouldn't worry about it. Now, if the question is in regards to the previous episode where I talked about straightening the leg as you pass it and so forth, I mean, as you get up higher in skill level, you want to be able to completely straighten your leg and completely bend it to a 90-degree angle to be an effective skater. And you want to have great lines. So those kind of things, they take time to develop. If you're just learning a 1 foot glide, I would say concentrate on gliding on 1 foot and fighting for being on that 1 foot as long as you can. If you can only go for 3 counts, go to 3 counts, but then try to get to 4. If you could go to 4 counts, go to 5, go to 6, go to 7. Try to glide longer. And then as you do this, that ultimately will give you better control, and that better control will carry on over, and eventually you're going to be able to do things. But for now, just do whatever it takes to stay on that 1 foot. And make sure you practice both feet. You don't want to have a really strong foot and a really weak foot. And in some ways, it's going to happen inevitably for 2 reasons. People have a more dominant side and a weaker side, but also people tend to practice the things they enjoy practicing, and it becomes like self-reinforcing, where the things that you like get better, and you like the things that get better, and it kind of snowballs in on itself, and before you know it, you have a really strong side and a weaker side. But that can be corrected. You just work extra on the weaker side. Okay. Anyway, I hope that answered that question. Let's just see where we're at now, and check back in the chat. Okay. Flico said, I have slender legs but hold my weight in my torso. Okay. So in that case, to answer your question, what I would probably say, I just want to just talk about something in general. If you are concerned about any part of your body, like if you're saying you're concerned about your legs being slender, first of all, I gotta say that skating is dangerous. Everyone falls down, everyone gets hurt. But 90% of injuries can be avoided if you work on strength, control, agility, flexibility. Strength, control, agility, flexibility. These are things you do off ice. They prepare your body for the impacts and the forces and the exertion that it has to experience in order to improve as a skater on ice. And that goes for everyone. So one thing I did is I actually made a video on this on Monday. So check that out, and I talked about it in depth. Anyway, if you don't see it, you will be able to find it on my Patreon, but I'm going to tell you real quick where it's at. Let me just see here. Alright. Injury Reduction and Prevention, episode 19 of Ice Dance Oleg Live. And it's going to be up till tomorrow morning, and then afterwards I'm taking it down, replacing it with today's episodes. When I take it down, I don't delete them, I simply move them to my Patreon. And my Patreon, if you wanted to join it, it's for as little as $1 a month. It's pretty much pay what you want, and you know, every little bit helps to me, but at the same time, I want it to be accessible to everyone. So if you want to throw in $1 and then just enjoy the videos, or you could even sign up and then cancel before the month is out. So I mean, you know, I don't take it personally, as long as the information gets to you. All right, now let's just see here. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying. the other thing that you can do right now, let's say you got to practice tomorrow. I mean, like all this stuff that I said is fine, but it's going to take weeks, if not months, to have a body that could take the kind of forces and impacts. But you still want to get on the ice. You could get some pads, get knee and elbow pads, and you could just pad yourself up, get a helmet. That way, until your body's fully there, you're going to be more protected, because safety is very important. Okay, there's no point in going out there and getting hurt, and skating is dangerous. This is a fact. All right, now let's continue on. Let's see where we're at. I'm just gonna check on the chat one more time here. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm just gonna greet the. Okay, let's see here. Now, going on to Heliko's question. Again, sorry if I mispronounced your name. What exercises would you recommend for getting more power out of one's stroking? It takes me 8 strokes to get down the ice when doing perimeter stroking. I'd like to get down in 6 strokes. Okay, so this is Heliko's question, and this is somewhat of a very important question. There's a semi-easy fix to it. I mean, it's not easy, but if you do this right, then you're going to be able to do it effectively pretty quickly. It's understanding a couple of principles, and I want to find the video that's most relevant. So just give me a second here. Okay, so we are going to go, let me just switch this out. All right. We are looking at icedanceroleg.com/videos. If you go on icedanceroleg.com and then click on videos. All right, and then we go down to this. I already have the playlist, by the way. The playlist is right here, and then we just have to go down to stroking right here. Okay. So there's a couple of things. They have a bunch of different stroking exercises, but there's one thing that they have in common, and we're going to look at this one right here. And I need to record more stroking exercises for you guys. That's just a fact. But let's watch this. All right. I need to get it from the side. Should watch it from the front as well. This works too. Okay, so this is the same double press exercise you saw earlier in the episode. This is something you can do. It's going to help. What this is developing is great knee and ankle control. It's the same kind of wall pressing exercise that I always bring up. This kind of control, being able to press and control. And now when I show you from the side, I'm going to be explaining why. Here we go. Okay, now let's roll this back just a split second. Okay, so here. All right, now, what often happens is, notice my position. I have my shoulder, hip, heel axis, right? Okay, remember that. Now, still got my axis. To be truthfully honest, I really should be sitting back a little bit more. I mean, the way I'm pushing off works fine, but I can get even more power if I was sitting back on this leg even more. And then we're going to go here. Now, already I'm thrusting myself. I'm switched my axis over, but I'm still maintaining this axis. What skaters sometimes do is they pitch really far with their chest. And let's go back. And this is something you can do as you're doing stroking, Heliko. Watch yourself in the glass. Look at yourself from the side. Are you pitching forward? Are you breaking at the waist? Or are you maintaining the axis? If you're breaking at the waist, your body weight's already gone forward. You're going to have no weight in the pushing foot. The biggest thing in stroking is you need to put weight in the pushing foot. And then that way you can thrust forward. As you get better, you actually do all these presses and pushes from one foot to the other because you're trying to concentrate maximum effort in that pushing foot before thrusting forward. But even on 2 feet, you want to concentrate your body weight right here. All right, and then thrusting. Again, I'm trying to dig in. I'm trying to push through the ice. I'm trying to go into the ice. I'm not trying to push across. Whenever I do this, I'm trying to go in, trying to go deep. And I'm thrusting it through. While I'm trying not to break this, I'm trying to maintain this connection because once I'm here, once I transfer my body weight, once this is gone, it becomes an empty push. So you want to do it to the very last second. You stroke. Now when you bring it in, you're going to press, rise, and stroke. Now, where I'm going to actually show you, we're going to look at some stroking videos next. Alright, and here we go. Not the best example because I'm pitching forward with my shoulders here, but for our purposes it will do. So I'm going to show you here. Okay. Again, I'm trying to press. This isn't too bad. You can go a little bit forward. You don't have to be completely straight. You do have to pitch a little bit forward, but I'm not completely broken. You can still see my axis going right here. Okay, if this was like down here and I'd have this kind of a position, that would be bad. You always want to be able to draw a line from the pushing foot through your shoulders. Now, again, this is for skating, and there are other ways of doing it. I just gotta stress this. Like speed skating, they're completely pressed over and they have their own way of doing it. Hockey, they also do a lot of bending. For our purposes, for our lines, and for our types of stroking, this is what we kind of want to go with. And coaches might also give you different types. Always keep in mind that the first thing you want to do is learn what your coaches teaches. Master their technique first before applying the things that I suggest. But keep in mind, in general, all coaches will agree on 95% of the things. I mean, the things that disagree on are going to be special cases and styles mostly. But in general, it's like coaches are like everyone. They use what works and discard what doesn't. So that's one of those. And again, it's a generalization. But in general, everyone wants to keep moving forward, keep advancing and practicing and pushing the sport forward. Okay, so we press, push, rise. Now, this right now is just my entry steps. Coming around, crossover, and by the way, if you're doing moves, you're allowed no more than 7 intro steps. Step 8 has to be the start of the move, otherwise you get a 0.1 deduction, just as a rule. Anyway, rise, press. Okay, now, here's where people get cut up often. Okay, when we walk, we tend to, lean a little bit forward and then go from one foot to the other. Stroking is not like walking. It's like the inverse walking. You have to press on the old foot. You got to sink into it before transferring to the new foot instead of kind of falling. Walking is basically controlled falling from one foot to the other. In this case, it's the inverse. So you're pressing and then thrusting off the foot. So push. So don't think about walking when doing stroking. If you try to do walking, then you're going to get no power on the ice. Bring it in, press. This is good. Okay, I got my 90-degree bend here. I'm concentrating my body weight. If you look closely, this foot's still off the ice. Right? It's pretty close there. It's maybe half an inch, but it's off the ground. Again, I'm concentrating in this pushing foot right here. I'm building that pressure. I'm maintaining my axis. And I'm thrusting forward. Now, this was me from about 2.5 years ago. I can do stroking better than I did here. But in general, and this is done with 4 strokes, but what I want to point out is that if you do this, it's not the hardest thing in the world. As long as you understand press, stroke, rise. Let's look. Rise. Anyway, that wasn't a good press that time. I'm just going to come around and we're going to look at the other direction. Okay, and coming around. Okay, and rise, press, stroke. Rise up straight. Press, stroke. Rise up straight. Press, stroke, rise up straight. Okay? Remember, press, stroke, rise. And I'm going to make an updated video so I could break this down a lot slower so you have an idea of what you want to focus on. I hope that answered your question for now, Helico, but I'm going to add it to my list of more stroking. Okay, now. Alright, now I'm probably going to broadcast about 9, so I'm going to start wrapping it up soon. But I still want to get to another question or two. Let's see where we're at in the stream. Oh, wow. By the way, oh my goodness. I did not see this. So let me just throw you guys on the screen here. Okay. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. Alright, well. Felico said thank you very much. And a big shout out to Felico. Sent me $5. And Chris sent me $10. Wow. I'm just gonna write in the chat. Okay, so yeah, wow, you guys I mean a lot. And it makes my life a lot easier too, and I certainly appreciate your supporting my efforts here. So it means a lot. Um, anyway, let me just see here. Let's see. Answer close question. Good. Let me see. Oh, wrong. Let's see where hit the wrong button here. Okay, now let me see where we're at. Don't see any other questions that I haven't hit up in the chat, so I'm gonna go back through my logs and see where I'm at right now. If there's any other questions that are haven't gotten to yet. All right, I'm just gonna read your comments right now. Okay, Ralph. I usually practice this move on ice, in reference to the 1-foot glide. However, I do this as a relaxed exercise. How I do this is make a flat hand prayer and place it on the chest. That will help with posture. Then take off on 1-foot glide. Instead of placing arms in a T, I place them to the side, relaxing the shoulders. After a few weeks of this exercise, my back muscles started to develop. I was not wobbling from side to side, back and forth, but this is a good exercise to start off when getting on the ice. Excellent points. Very good. Yep. Couldn't agree more. And that's the thing I want to point out. If you want to find your own way, actually, it's human nature, really. The things that I've been taught by my coaches, I naturally have my own view of them. I mean, information is never transmitted 100%. It is always modified and remixed, and it continues to grow and develop. And ideas sometimes come back around, but other times develop into completely new ideas. Keep that in mind, that everything, no matter, even if like you had a student that spent their whole life with the same coach, they will still develop unique ideas of their own, or their interpretation will be different. And that's one of those things. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why there's any number of ideas, but in general, all the great ideas converge. All right, now let me just continue reading here. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, this is another 1-foot glide question. Do you keep the body weight on the back of the blade? All right, so blade placement. Actually, this is another thing that I covered. Let me see here. Okay, and this is one that I really recommend everyone watch. This is Dia's question from Monday, blade position awareness. In general, when you're doing 1-foot glides, you want to skate in the middle of your blade, which is the third position. This is when you're just practicing your 1-foot glides. When I say third position, I basically, on my own initiative, no one is asking. And again, you don't have to quote me on this. I had a student that had a hard time working out blade positions. And I'm like, all right, let's break this down. And so I basically assigned 5 different points in the blade. So, and I go into in the video because it worked for her. I'm like, if it worked for her, it'll probably work for some of you guys. Made the video this a couple of years ago. Worked out pretty well. Long story short, this would be the third position or the middle of the blade. And that's where you want to glide when you're on 1 foot. As you get better, you go back furthermore into the fourth position. That's the heel. And you drive through the heel. And that way you get more of a push because your foot rolls through like this. It has to do because we're hinged back here. This is our foot, how it gets hinged. And then you want to get a push. If you're up here on the ball of the foot, which I refer to as the second position, then you get a smaller push like this. See? But from here, long push, more power. And that takes time to develop, but initially you want to be right here. If this is your blade, you're going to be in the middle right here approximately, like this. This is where you want to be. You don't want to be back here initially. and driving like that, because you're not going to necessarily have the skills to be able to use that effectively, and you don't want to be riding the ball of your foot up here because it's not as effective, and generally skating in the center is the most effective way for learning off a glide anyway. Okay, and hopefully that answered that question. Let me just check here, see where we're at. Okay. All right, so we got another question in here. Let's see here. Bernadette wrote, okay, so. Okay, Bernadette, thank you for this stream. I am a 13-year-old ice dancer. Okay, Bernadette, yeah, just to be clear, I want to make sure that your parents know that you're in the stream. I mean, I don't do anything inappropriate in the stream for obvious reasons, but just for your own knowledge, you never know who could be in the stream. You know, anyone could join at any time. This is a public forum, so make sure that your parents are sitting next to you, just for your own safety. You don't ever want to stream with a stranger because you never know. Okay, but answering your question, I'm kind of working on pre-bronze. Oh, and by the way, another tip, never give away your age, because you don't know, like, who can go after you, because it's just, you can't assume there's any safety on the internet, so I just worry about your safety. If I was you, I would probably change my username to something else, and never give out your age, so that's just for your personal safety. Okay, so, but getting on, I'm kind of working on pre-bronze, bronze, pre-silver, all at the same time. Haha. I'm competing this weekend. Well, good luck. Congratulations. And let me see where you're at. Let's see here. Thanks so. Yeah, Helico wrote, best of luck in your competition, Bernadette. Bernadette wrote, thank you so much. And Marcel Lady wrote, thank you for all your help. Oleg, I appreciate it. So helpful. Bernadette wrote, I'm right on the verge of going to nationals in solo paddle. Oh, that's awesome. 7th place out of 24. There are 3 people tied for 4th place in front of me. I have 18 points and they have 19, so I'm going to nationals in shadow dance though. So okay, that's good. Yeah. And then basically Bernadette wrote, I'm going to nationals in shadow dance. So, oh, by the way, congratulations. It always excites me to know that I'm helping competitors as well, because myself, the thing that I always wanted in life is just to be a competitor. Now, unfortunately, I've aged out. You know, I'm gonna find a meme. I'm gonna show you guys. You're gonna like this. Okay. All right. Let me just open it up. Okay, so this is kind of me right now. I'm the old guy in the group. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of me in competitive skating in senior level, because all my competitors are half my age. So, yeah, I want nothing more in life than to compete in senior, but I've aged out. Don't have the option of finding a partner anymore. And the thing is, why this year and not say last year or next year? There's a new rule that was added this year that makes it very hard for someone like me. I mean, I'm not saying it was added specifically at me, but there was a rule added that basically puts in a minimum score, which I can meet. I'm not worried about me meeting it, but I would need to have someone about similar level of experience as me. And what that makes it hard for me is because anyone of similar level experience as me would not want to skate with a 36-year-old. As a fact, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody ages, but that's facts of life right here. I can't expect someone else, because 36-year-olds in general don't skate in senior when they're 36 unless they've been together for a decade with their partner. And if you don't have a new partner typically will not start with you if they're thinking that old, because they're gonna think we quit. Well, in my case, why am I so old? I started skating at 18. I'd never skated before in my life before I turned 18. Actually, it started April 23rd, 2002, 4:36 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at Mountain View Ice Arena. Anyway, in case anyone was wondering. But getting back to on track, what I'm trying to say is I'm always excited for competitors. I mean, I like helping everyone, but especially warms my heart hearing that I'm having an impact on the competitive scene. So it means a lot. All right, let me just read some more comments, see where we're at. Okay. All right. Okay, and okay, that's good. Okay, yeah. I'm good at nationals and shout dance. Yeah, yes, you know it's all right. Don't worry. Okay, good. Yeah, because that's good. And isn't my real name just a song my parents have taught me all about being safe online? Good. Very good. Very good. Okay, Helico. I'll skate with you, Oleg. Just give me another 20 years to catch up to your level. Okay, so the problem is that skating advances roughly. I did this back of the envelope calculation some time ago. Around 3 to 5 points. I mean, I could be way off, but it's something like that. So, in other words, how I skated, to say, like when I first began in senior, that was I skated times at nationals. So this would have been the eighth, but it didn't work out. So you figure if you multiply that by three, let's say 24 points. So what I scored back then, and would be, uh, basically what I'm getting now would have been worth, say, like 24 points higher approximately back then. Again, back of the envelope calculation, don't quote me on this, but what I'm trying to say is that skating is always advancing, and sometimes it advances at a frighteningly fast pace. In order to skate at my level, I personally believe that just about anyone can do it if they have a physically strong enough body. I could still do it. I don't have the option to do it because, like I already explained. However, what you need to do, you need to train between 4 and 6 hours a day. You need to have the body of a living machine. You have to be able to take an intense training regime. You have to have nerves of steel. You have to have just a fanatical devotion, a fierce determination to succeed at any cost, at any price, no matter what it will take from you. And it will take things from you, just as a fact. I just want to point out that the more you want, the more you will have to sacrifice in return. And that's just the way it is. That goes with anything in life that other people want, that in order to be successful, some people are just going to sacrifice more. They're going to give in more. And even then, you might not succeed. Even if you're willing to pay the ultimate price, it does not mean that you're going to succeed for it. I thought that I would train myself to death eventually, but the irony is that I know that even if I continued training, full on, even to the point of death, I would not actually stand any better chance of finding a partner. So there's no point, is what I'm saying. So I'm focusing on other things. I'm using my efforts and energy to help grow the sport in any which way I can. And I am working on my violin, for instance. You know, things like that. They give me something to do, something to focus on. Anyway, let's see here. Let me just continue reading the comments here. So yeah, that's what I was telling Helico is, if I were you, just enjoy what you do, because that's really the big thing. Is it's not so much a destination, it's a journey. It's the friends you make along the way, it's the experiences you have. So enjoy every moment of it, and that's the best advice I can give anyone. And any day that you walk off the ice on your own 2 feet is a good one. So by that measure, I've only had one bad day. Um, okay, Bernadette wrote, yeah, your videos are really helpful to my shadow dance partner and I. Sometimes we aren't taught the correct timing or whatever, and it's kind of annoying. Okay, so that's a good point. Bernadette, do you know where to get a rule book? I just want to make sure that do not ever assume that you are given the correct timing. I don't even trust that I know the right timing, because every time when I work in partner dances, I always go back and check myself, because memory does degrade. If you don't check yourself periodically, you're going to sometimes slip up, and that slip up is going to roll over, and that eventually snowballs, and then it becomes permanent in your mind, and then you keep doing a certain way, and then ultimately it just becomes second nature. But you have to check the rule book. And if you go on US figure skating, I'm just going to show you guys real quick. Let's do that real quick. It's going to probably be the last thing I do here. Anyway, yeah, we're going to show you guys where to get a rule book. Learn the rules. All right. And by the way, it's free. Rule books are free. And I'm just going to get this set up here. Let me just find myself. Okay. I got to switch myself over. That's what's going on. Okay, here we go. All right. Let's find us a rule book. We go to USFSA or US Figure Skating. Same thing. You go here, US Figure Skating. Technical info. Click on that. All right, right here, rule book. Get it. Get it today. Get it now. That's the last thing I want you guys to do today. Go get the rule book. and just grab it. You can download it. Now, this is not yet fully scrutinized, so there might be changes to this one. You can always grab previous ones as well. They're in here somewhere. Let's see here. Combined action report. You could also have a copy delivered to home. I just download it and use it, and it works just fine. But yeah, this is where you want to go to get the rule books, and it's very good. You check the dance patterns, check the timing in it, and sometimes if you're really paranoid, what you can do is, let me just get myself back on the screen here. There are a number of ways you can check. When you go in the rule book, when you look at a pattern dance, and this way you're 100% sure, when you look at your steps, you can look both in the pattern as it's drawn and the number of beats listed next to the step, but also in the step description. It has this graph that follows right after the pattern, which lists, it says, okay, step 19, for instance, right outside 3 turn, and it goes for 3 beats, for instance, 2 plus 1. It tells you the breakup. So check both things, make sure everything aligns. Also count the steps from beginning to end, make sure they start on 1 and finish on 4 or 3, so it always comes back around, or 6. Anyway, just things to keep in mind. In other words, don't make the assumption that your memory is always 100% correct. Memory does degrade, fade, and change. That's my dog, Wesley. So anyway, check yourself, check the rule book, and yeah, always trust but verify. Anyway, this is Oleg, and I'm just going to see if there's anything else. Last things I need to say anything, and I'm going to be signing off here. Okay, great, and Burnett responded. All right, yes, I have access to a rulebook. My partner has one, and there's also one that usually is always at the rink. I really should get one, though. Yeah, it's free. Download it. Put it on your phone. All right, I'm going to show you guys now real quick where you're going to find out when the next stream is. Okay, so okay, this is going on here. Now, if you go on Legaltikov here, all right. Now, this is a little confusing because I have the here we go. The picture where I'm looking like the Rock, looking up the window. I swear I actually do look like the Rock. Just for whatever reason, I guess it's the way the shadow's hitting me or whatever. When I looked at it, I was like, hey, I should make that the cover photo. But anyway, long story short, let's read it together. Vlog 16, next live stream date and time, plus live video 17 through 22, expiration date, see description. I'm going to keep this or a version of it up, probably at all times, because that way I want you to be able to go in here and see what's going on, what the latest thing is, because what happens is, I want you to be able to see, okay, when is the next live stream? Now, video 17 through 22, those were the ones that I did on Monday. If you haven't seen them yet, go and see them. If you don't have time to see them, you could always go and watch them on my Patreon. Like I said, Patreon could be as little as $1 a month, and you could always sign up and cancel before the month is out if you're really short on the cash. So I just want to make sure that you know where you could access them. I do not leave them up on the channel for the simple reason that it crowds out the usual videos, and then I get a bunch of people upset because they're not getting the stuff that they're used to seeing. And anyway, I don't want it to have a situation where a bunch of people start unsubscribing and because they're just not seeing the regular stuff. And if I was to put out 3, 4, 5 of these every other day, it would quickly crowd out the usual videos. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, I'm going to replace the ones from Monday with what we talked about in this stream. I'm going to break it down, take out the filler, and then just put in the relevant questions. And it's going to be maybe 3 or 4 questions, whatever it breaks out to. And then it's going to be the same format, and it's going to be episodes, say, 23 through 27 or whatever. Those are going to be up to the next live stream. I will put the date and time in here. This might shift, so just click on the video. If you don't even have to click on it, just read it. Live stream order, next live stream, and this is today, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might be a few minutes late, just setting up sometimes. I have some system malfunctions or whatever, problems with servers, but it's getting better. Last time it took me like 40 minutes to get everything connected. This time it only took me a few minutes. Anyway, you could find out when the next times are, and if I have to cancel for some reason, I'll just change it to the next time. So if you're on here and say it's 8:30 and you're still not seeing me, check back on my homepage, see if I have made a modification. If I've made a modification, that way you know you don't have to sit there and wait for me. All right, well, I'm just going to wrap it up then. This is a great great stream we had. I really enjoyed it, and I just want to make sure we're good. So again, I appreciate all of your support, and I really appreciate the support that I received for this stream as well from Fulicolo, $5, and from Chris for $10. You guys certainly made my night with that. I was not expecting that. And if anyone else, if you want to throw in a few bucks, you could still do that. Just hit the $sign. Let me just show you guys real quick. But again, there's no pressure. And if you do not want to do it, you could always help me out in other ways. For instance, you can do so by liking the videos, by sharing them, spreading the word, and so forth. Like I said, big shout out right here to you guys, Felico and Chris. Thank you very much. Anyone else, if you want to contribute a few bucks, you can do it by hitting the $sign. Or if not, don't worry about it. Your likes and your shares mean a lot. Alright, this is Oleg, and I'm signing off. Good night.